Hey guys, my name is JessiMew, and welcome back to Adam's Quest. In the last episode, we finally picked our very last stinky fruit, which means we can also finally leave this island behind us. And I don't know about you guys, but I am looking forward to leaving the swamplands. I'm really looking forward to seeing what's on the other side of these savanna ports. Based on what I've heard so far, this is going to be like nothing we've ever experienced before, and I'm sure some of our creatures are going to have quite a hard time adapting to their new environment. Right now, we have some of the youngest siblings of the bear hyena and the lion line joining us on this journey. We have Jasmine, who's one of the youngest and only females who could potentially start new families on the next island. She'll be going with them too. We have a Trance's brand new baby Moonstone, who is one of the last of the shaman line, with her digging paw that should certainly be a big help in the savannah. Then we also have other creatures migrating from very distant portions of the island, like our band of bandits. I think Wasp has discovered that she really enjoys this island. She loves the ocean. It probably reminds her a little bit of the mother that she never really got the chance to know. So she is very grateful that Van Kiraduk was the one to show her this place, and I'm sure she's going to make her way further and further down the shore, the more she hears those wonderful songs from our families down here like Chime. We also have our bluebird family who is going to need to pass the feathers on before everybody leaves. Rarico still does have quite a while left on her lifespan, but she knows she needs to keep that tradition alive. So it seems only natural that Orion and Rarico would pass the feathers on to their golden son, but that doesn't mean that he's really meant for the role of leadership. He might need a big dose of humility before he's able to truly lead the tribe to greatness, and he's likely to find it in the burning savannah. At the moment, though, that is far from his parents' minds. They just think that with his strength, he'll be able to protect his tribe from anything that comes their way. And likewise, Orion is very, very interested to meet this new little baby that he's heard so much about. Amazon, his second in command, let him know that there's a very special baby off in the swamplands who has strength that could even rival his own son. So Dragonfly would definitely be accepted into their guard, but I wonder if Orion might have a new idea in mind, some sort of new tradition to introduce to his family. Perhaps he could request that Dragon and his only daughter, Ananame, eventually start a family in the future, so kind of like betrothing the two. Little does he know, however, that Ananame is currently getting to know Feral over by those poison berry bushes. She's probably smitten by his humble ways, since he is part of our very laid-back bear hyena line. Not at all like the arrogant creatures that she's used to from over at her home. We also have Sunspot, who is very likely to follow all of these creatures as well, but this might be an excellent time for Chime to teach his family some of his very last songs right before he passes away. So Chime will gather all of his children toward him and start singing a song of farewell to not only say goodbye to his family, but also to lure all of the distant creatures over to those ports so they can go to the next island too. Dusk, on the other hand, seems content to just stay here with his grandmother's sunrise. She probably hears that song in the distance and feels a little bit sad herself, but she knows she has a job to continue here. She needs to tend to all of the water-breathing plants. She needs to keep trying as ever to dig up all of those worms on the seafloor. I feel like Dusk would probably be a good creature to take up that task anyway. He might not have the platypus beak, but he does remember his father Kuvan digging up those worms with ease when he was very, very little. And speaking of little babies, we do have a brand new child in our midst. Little Cuckoo, who wandered up to Thorn of all creatures, looking for somebody to take care of him. One of you suggested that maybe Cuckoo came up to Thorn because he reminded him of his father, or at least somebody in his family, since they do look so similar with that bright red fur. I absolutely love that idea, and I know that Thorn is going to watch after Cuckoo very carefully, because he is a little bit worried that his presence is going to, yet again, disturb that ape off in the jungle. That's why he had Cuckoo roll around in the mud to mask his scent, just like we did for the bandits before. So fingers crossed that is going to be enough to keep the ape off of our trail. We can only hope this island isn't going to end in some sort of tragedy right as we're about to move. But I think for now we are ready to skip the day. So we'll be saying one final goodbye to so many in this line, including even our Bergina. Oh my goodness, did Rasp pass away too? Oh, that is so sad, right next to his father as well. Oh, the poor thing. I didn't realize that they were actually the same age, but that is so fitting. So they must have been singing together all night long until they both eventually passed. It's a little bit sad that Rasp was the one to pass underneath those waves, though, right on the most shallow portions of the ocean. And even more disturbing than that is the fact that we can actually pick up the meat that he left behind. I guess we could maybe consider that to be like his final gift. Like, this isn't really the remains of our Bergina friend, you know? This is just maybe all the bunnies that he stashed away for his family, because I hate to think that our creatures are actually like munching on our little Bergina friend now. I don't think our tribe would be the type to do that. But let's go see who has the leech. Of course, it would be our water babies, and we don't want you guys taking that to the next island. I think Rhapsody would be the one most interested in what's happening up by those ports. So let's finally bring him out of the water to hopefully meet all of these creatures. And did your brother pick up the leech now? Oh no, it's you! It's poor beast way down in the deepest portions of the water. You're going to have to jump all the way back up to the surface if you want somebody to help you out. And unfortunately, Scorpion is not actually old enough to do so. So I think that means you're going to take a little bit of damage on this turn, but we'll make sure that Scorpion helps you out as soon as he's able to. I was hoping that maybe he could find his own water-breathing plant to use, but it seems like nothing has grown back yet. So fingers crossed the next turn will be a little bit more lucky for you guys. We also have another carnivorous plant to deal with, which I'm sure our lions are really not looking forward to right now. In fact, we'll have them go ahead and pick up that bunny meat that they found before, and then they might just try to avoid this thing entirely. With so many of our stronger creatures leaving the tribe now, I don't think they would want to risk getting completely trapped in this thing. And likewise, it might be a good time for Ghoul to make her way away from the swamplands as well. We don't want her getting sucked into the carnivorous plant right before we leave. We can, however, have little Moonstone toddle her way onto the ports as well. I'm sure this is a very bittersweet moment for not only Trance, but also Daylily, to send off her two daughters to continue the journey without her. She knows that these creatures will watch after them very well, and she knows that they're both destined for greatness. But that doesn't really ease any of the pain that she feels just as a mother. Trance unfortunately won't get the chance to see them leave because this is his very final day, but at least he can rest easy knowing that his ways will continue in Moonstone. Ironically, Dukkirvan may just be one of the last creatures to make it over to those ports, thanks to all of the trouble that he's having with the sleeping sickness. So you know that is definitely making him very, very frustrated right now. But he has different things to occupy his mind now, as his mother passes those bluebird feathers over to him, for him to take to the next island. So we'll change his official rank over to an alpha as well, and we'll have our creatures sing a new song to signify the change of leadership. He might ask little Sunspot to scout ahead too, since this guy can move so very far across this island. He could actually set up right on top of these ports without any trouble whatsoever. Dukkirvan is much, much slower in general, just because of that big body and those two claws. It actually makes him a little bit more clumsy than you would expect of such a grand creature, and I'm sure that's another thing that often leaves him feeling very frustrated with himself. Now Dragonfly can settle down here to meet Ananame, but he will be a little bit surprised to find out that she's not too interested in talking with him, She much prefers the company of Feral at this point. We'll bring Feral over in this direction, I think, just to pick up the extra poison berries. Something for all of his family members to munch on, and hopefully take with them to the next island. We'd best bring Chirp out of the water too, not to join his brother on the ports, but to say goodbye to him and also make sure that he doesn't attract the attention of unwanted leeches. All of our poison-fanged creatures would actually best be put on berry-picking duty right now, so they can continue to increase our food supplies before we leave. And likewise, Orion, as always, is going to look for more of those poison berry bushes to swipe up for the extra food, the extra nesting material, and the extra peace of mind that everybody is going to be able to survive that long journey. And did the ape catch a whiff of you guys, or are you safe? Let's see. I don't see the ape out there right now, so you guys might actually be okay. Thankfully, with Cuckoo's big nose, he should be able to notice very quickly if the ape is around. So I guess he might be a little bit more suited to jungle life than we thought. Thorn can definitely teach him all the ropes, and hopefully they'll be able to survive and thrive as some of our last creatures in the jungle, because I know that Wasp is not going to turn back now. She has gotten her taste of freedom and she wants to see it to the end now. So I think what we're actually going to do is have her breed with Van Duke, and then we'll take their baby to the next island, so she can have them there and maybe promise to carry out their lifestyle, so the bandits' ways will continue even in the savannah. With that potential hemophilia glitch, we might as well just focus on different genetics in Wasp's line. Like maybe those ram horns, because it does look like she could probably use a little boost to draw that out of her genetics. And then we might as well see if we can breed the green eyes back into our jungle line, because I'm sure that would look very, very nice on their babies. So Van Duke can perhaps use his turns to breed with her. That way she'll be able to make her way far, far down the shore, and hopefully join up with all of our creatures over by those ports. Though it seems as if a little crabbit is going to block her way first. Very, very interesting. Do we have any creatures who could maybe help her out? I mean, I guess Sunrise, though she's not exactly the strongest creature. Oh, look at that! The crabbit has a shell, no wonder he's guarding this area. Well, Sunrise is not quite a bandit. I wonder if maybe we could have like Shadow make his way down here to pick it up instead? Now I guess we run the risk of losing it entirely if it gets swept away by that tide. So for now, Sunrise will act as an honorary member of the bandits, which seems kind of strange considering her troubles with her healing fruits. But it may also be that she saw this pregnant creature who was trying to make her way past the crabbit, and she just wanted to pass that shell onto her. Unknowingly, of course, without realizing that these creatures are bandits themselves. I feel like Karasi is probably going to want to stay on the swamplands though. Maybe she would even find a place to make a little home with Shadow, because they've spent so much time together. So we'll have her pick up what she can with all the resources around the swamplands, all of those resources that we never really did get the chance to use. And who picked up a leech over here? That is something that we're going to have to be very, very careful of, because these creatures do have to be right next to the ocean tiles, and we don't want them taking any leeches with them. But I think we should be ready to once again skip the day. One of our very final days on this island, and luckily a day with quite a heavy rainfall as well, so we'll have even more little fruits to take with us. Let's just peek into the grass for a moment. Make sure there's no apes out there that we need to be made aware of, and thankfully no Berryinas either. Though I'm sure Ghoul's heart is breaking, knowing that she wasn't able to be by Rasp's side when he passed away. So let's bring her over here so she can at least be with her family. That way they can let her know about the news, and Chirp can spy this little leech before it gets to him first. And yet somebody else wasn't quite so lucky. Beast also needs to hurry his way out of the water. especially now because he's going to end up taking some drowning damage. So scoot on right next to Scorpion. He can pick the leech off of you, lick your wounds, and then hopefully you wouldn't mind sharing some of your ways, because Scorpion has been very, very interested in potentially joining you deep down in the ocean. You two would make an excellent fishing pair, so hopefully that means that our lions won't be going hungry anytime soon. They still have all of these acorns to collect too, which I'm sure they assume is a little gift from their mother who loved to crack open those shells. But it's good to see that Dukkirvan is feeling invigorated after taking those bluebird feathers, and he might even be able to move over to the ports if he very kindly requests, of course, that our creatures move out of the way. We'll have him settle a little bit closer to the front of the pack, because I'm sure he would want to be the one to lead them to their next home. But this is as far as he can get for now. Dragonfly will also try to lead Ananame toward the port stew, but he will be very shocked to find out that Ananame might just be taking a child with her. One might think it could be a way for her to try yet again to be accepted by her family, by having a strong child just like her mother. She does see Farrell's Beragina genetics, and I'm sure that would interest her too. But more than that, she loves that he thinks so much of his family, and she wants that tradition, if nothing else, to survive in her family instead. So we'll bring her over to the ports too, but with a very, very big secret to keep. So now I believe the only creature we're waiting on is Wasp. So we just have to get rid of this pesky Crabbit. Maybe Orion can slash it from behind. There we go, and now she can actually move freely. So we'll bring Amazon down here to light up the way for her. I feel like they would be eager to let her sign onto the journey too, just thanks to her very unique traits. She's the only creature over here with that stinky tail, so they hope that means she'll be able to protect all of their babies, of course. Help them survive the new and harsh landscape. Now we can have the bandits come over here and do their job too, and hopefully pick up that Crabbit. Though Van Kierduke might as well try his hand at fishing. Oh, look at that! You actually managed to catch it, even though he didn't technically have a high enough fishing skill. So I guess you have a new little trait to show off to all of your bandit friends. Thorin, thankfully, is still keeping his new adopted son safe, because it seems as if the ape hasn't noticed them yet. So go ahead and pick up all of those lovely stinky fruits, and then we'll have Thorn lick the scent off of your fur. Stinky fruit collecting was what the little guy was born to do, so he knows his job pretty well by now. But this should yet again be our last turn on the island, because I'm sure Wasp is going to be able to make her way over to those ports now. And we have even a little bunny to take with us too. If maybe Stag can jump over here and scoop it up before it scoots away, then he can offer it up to his little brother Scarab to take with them to the Savannas. They're going to miss their siblings, of course, because they were all very close, but they're very proud to see that their younger brothers have grown up so well. So as we scoop up the very last of our berries, we're just about ready to see all of our creatures off on their next big journey. I know that Rarico is watching very fondly from her tall hill in the swamps. She knows that her babies are going to be okay. And I'm sure she hopes in her own way that her children are going to be even better than she was, because she knows that she didn't always have the kindest heart. So her final wish would be that Dukkirvan might learn that humility that he so desperately needs. But beyond that he will be the one to lead them one step closer to Adam's goal. So as our creatures share the last of their food and say their goodbyes, we'll bring Wasp to the very last port open on the Savanna tiles. We'll bring Dukkirvan to the front, and then Wasp will have a place right in between little Dragonfly and Ananame, and wave goodbye to those very, very distant bandits. Wait a second. Oh my goodness. Of all the times, now we're drawing the attention of dangers. It looks like we even have a rogue male saying hello. Wait a second. Cuckoo, is this your father? Oh my goodness. It looks like we might be having a little family reunion back here, actually. Maybe his father was the one who drew the attention of the ape after all. So I guess that means that you, Thorn, you're going to have quite the situation on your hands pretty soon. While we won't see it for ourselves, he is very likely going to have to defend Cuckoo from the ape, which means their alliance is about to come to an end. The one silver lining is that the ape is getting a little bit older now, so maybe it would be easier for him to take him down. But then we have this situation over here. I mean, Karasi, you would probably be the first one to attack the Berryina, right? Unfortunately, she isn't able to poison him with her toxic body, because he would need to attack her first. But Van Kierduke, as one of the main leaders of their little band of bandits, could definitely do that for her. And then Shadow, since he's grown so attached to Karasi, could definitely lend a paw too. And there we go, now we have extra food to take with us yet again. So I think this is it, guys. I think we're finally ready to leave the swamplands and see what's waiting for us at the savannah. So as all of our creatures sing their very final farewell songs, Dukkirvan will lead our tribe over to the next island, and I'll see you guys as soon as we get there. Here we are, and things are already looking very, very different from anything we've ever seen before. So this entire island is just covered in savanna. There is no end in sight. And it seems as if our very first little berry bush that we have to pick from is actually a cactus. So that's not a very good sign. Okay, it looks like we do actually have some berry bushes, some normal ones to gather up our food. But I'm a little bit worried because it is definitely much, much hotter here already. It looks like the entire screen is kind of covered by this almost red haze. So I guess that means that our big-bodied creatures, just like I feared, are going to have a very, very tough time here. It also looks as if we aren't going to be able to jump into the water, so Rhapsody is probably regretting his decision to come along with them, because all he sees is this giant abyss that is far too scary for him to swim in. I feel like he probably will still linger on the outskirts, hoping that he'll find some place where he can dip his toes into the ocean, but instead he found a permanent nest. So that means one of our expectant mothers can come over here and use that. And I think we'll have a wasp be the very first one, because Ananame is going to be a little bit more secretive. She might try to find a place on some different part of the island, far away from her tribe mates, where she can build a nest of her own. So let's bring her over to the other side, right inside all of this tall grass too, so at least we know she'll be well hidden from predators. We'll sniff around as well just to see if there's anything else we can use. Tons and tons of roots. That's probably the first thing that Moonstone smells. So let's bring her over here to dig them up. And in the process, I suppose she would be the only one of our creatures to witness the birth of Ananame's baby. Everyone else is going to try to carve their pathways deeper and deeper into the island to make sure there's no immediate dangers and to hopefully find those extra food sources. In fact, Jasmine, with your nimble fingers, you should probably come up here to pick the berries. Is there literally only one berry on that bush? That's a little bit disappointing. Does that mean that we have bunnies out here, or is it just because it's very, very dry? I feel like that berry bush should probably be a little bit more withered than it currently is, because I can't imagine we're going to see much rainfall here. But the luck of the sea continues to give us its blessings, because Rhapsody has found yet another permanent nest over here. So why don't we have Scarab join them, just to pick up the extra grass, clear out a safe little nursery for all of our babies to use. And then Sunspot might as well be our scout. Since he can move so far, he can definitely see if there's any dangers far off in the distance. He even blends in with his surroundings much better than somebody like Bear, who unfortunately is going to struggle in this situation. I am curious to see how quickly this is going to affect them all. So let's have Jasmine clear out the grass right around the berry bush, and then we'll go ahead and skip our very first night in the savannah. I'm super, super nervous. Okay, so far it looks like everything is safe. I don't see any immediate dangers, so I think we might be okay. Fingers crossed that this is also counting toward the lean body. In fact, let's check and see in our mutation menu if this area is hot enough, like Dukkirvan is currently complaining about, to hopefully help us unlock the lean body. There we go, so we actually have to spend 50 days in this hot climate to unlock that. Oh my gosh, that is going to be so hard on our creatures. I hope we brought enough food. But let's at least take a look at our little babies before we end out this episode, because it looks as if we have an adorable little female in the nest. Unfortunately, without the stinky tail that we were hoping for. But at least she's carrying it in her inactive traits, and at least we can put it into somebody else's mutation menu. I like how she's kind of like a perfect mix of both of her parents too. She has her father's spots and she has her mother's fur. I think Wasp is going to name her baby in memory of her father though. We'll call her Little Bee, which is quite fitting because she looks so tiny. Then we have the slightly more scandalous baby hidden away over here in the grass, who seems to be a very strong individual himself. He has the claw, that's good to see, and he also has that running leg. But he did inherit the big body too, and the dark fur is going to make it so hard for him to move around in this land. Maybe we'll see the effects of that firsthand as our leaders begin to explore the island themselves in the next episode. Dukkirvan is going to want to take point as they dive into that tall grass, but he's going to find pretty quickly that he just can't keep up with everybody else. Maybe strength, maybe brute strength isn't all that it's cracked up to be, and he'll need to find something else deep down in his heart if he wants to survive with the rest of his tribe. But for now, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye guys!